A lovely good evening to you all today, the 1st of September, Friday, 2023. To present Camnet Television main news, my name is Jeffrey Siambo. The top stories in the news tonight: 15-year-old girl of Lusaka defiled and tortured. A women's organization criticizes the light sentence slapped on wife killer. State discontinues case against the 5 Egyptians involved in the alleged gold scam. In international news, UN Secretary General says coups are not the solution. And in sports news, Zambia's boxing team intensifies preparations ahead of the Dakar Olympic qualifiers.
Hello, Camnet TV viewers. I am your pastor, Pastor Chiluba. This week, on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, my wife, Pastor Victoria, and I will be joining Dr. Francis Miles and Pastor Nwaka of the Living Waters and Pastor Jeff. The conference will be at the Living Waters Church in Uzakile, next to the BP filling station and also Uzakile Police Station. You must come for this Courts of Heaven conference. My wife and I will be delighted to see you. May God bless you, and may the Lord keep Zambia. Bye-bye.
Hello again, the news in detail. A 15-year-old girl of Lusaka's Kanyama-Mbasela area has allegedly been defiled and left pregnant by a 29-year-old neighbor. Victim Ruth Perry says the incident happened in May of 2023, but instead of reporting the matter to the police, she was surrendered to the perpetrator by her aunt. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Perry says she was, however, mistreated by the perpetrator's family, who forced her to take a known concoction in order to terminate the pregnancy. And Concerned Citizens for Justice and Human Rights Officer Inonge Libuo has condemned the decision of the relatives to the victim. More in this report.
She's in tears as she narrates the torture she went through at the hands of a man who allegedly defiled her. This is 15-year-old Ruth Piri of Lusaka's Kanyama-Mbasela area, who was impregnated by a 29-year-old neighbor, and the aunt surrendered her in the hands of the accused. Now, in what seems to be a fallout from an out-of-court settlement, the family has reported the matter to Concerned Citizens for Human Rights and Justice. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, the victim says she was being forced to terminate the pregnancy using a traditional concoction and denied food.
Vanipishako pa nyumba ma 24 hours nakwenda kuli sister wangu kuli brother wangu anendongalako. After nangalako nabwere vananibweza futhi pa nyumba vanambonwesa vimkwara ifu vinangwenzo nimwesa vinangwenze nsambika nezo stanga mwa mkwara uyo nenzimvera brother iva abana mara kubaba brother nzo stika mga ivimba nkamwa mkwara wenzo mpasa vapongozi vanga ndenze mpasa mkwara uya mamisi wenzo zwa vivonsi.
Mother to the victim, Mary Tembo, narrates how she was battered with her daughter by the family of the accused.
Ngala pachapanga pa nyumba. So ninazo kamba cha binangu pa phone na watenanti. Wewe ajendea kubwera. Ndipo kamba kuti nikamba wewe kamba wako tama nivutisira mwana. No yamba amenya mwana manje. Ina nikambeko na nikweza kutimenya mairi. Sasa tunaita ngani kula. So manje after kula tikambisane lero. Ndiye yambo fwembana wapa victim kuti abamenye.
Commenting on the matter, Concerned Citizens for Justice and Human Rights Officer Inonge Libuo has expressed disappointment on the family's decision to hide the incident when it occurred.
So tifuna tuone mwana mkati mumanaribu inoro bwanji. So makesi yaso niyo ipa maningi sewa mai batate tikaona bana bantu bati babapasa mamimba tisankarepo bana bakali bangono baleteni. So ati bashite bwanji babanza wapunzirirepo bana bafunika babwerere ku school bapunzire noti kunkala pa manyumba kuyamba kubala iyayi.
As at broadcast time, the family was left at Kanyama First Level Hospital, where the victim was seeking medical attention. The matter has since been reported to the police. For Camnet News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
The Young Women's Christian Association of Zambia, YWCA, says the 20 years simple imprisonment slapped at former PricewaterhouseCoopers Director Tonderai Luisi for the murder of his wife is too light. YWCA National Council President Patricia Mubanga says there is a need to revisit the sentence as it does not set good precedents in fighting gender-based violence in the country. Mr. Mubanga says there is need to review the country's judicial system, alleging that the family to the murder victim have no closure. Here's a report.
There is God in heaven.
We know it, man.
There is God in heaven.
It's okay.
On Tuesday, 29th August 2023, parents of late Pelagia Mregui, who was murdered in cold blood by her husband Tonderai Luisi on December 10th, 2022, could not hold their emotions as Justice Bonaventure Mbebe handed a 20-year simple imprisonment to Luisi for killing his wife after he was told that the two children were not his and that she was in love with another person. A women movement, Young Women's Christian Association of Zambia, YWCA, is unhappy with the judgment of the murder case and has termed it unfair. YWCA National Council President Patricia Mubanga says the judgment is likely to dilute efforts made to fight gender-based violence in the country. In the first quarter of 2023, 10,797 cases of gender-based violence were recorded countrywide compared to 10,241 cases in 2022. Ms. Mubanga says there is a need to revisit the country's justice system in order to stiffen punishment on GBV cases.
As regards the sentencing of Mr. Luisi, to 20 years simple imprisonment, that was an unfair sentence. For the justice to give such kind of a short and simple sentence to a murderer. As a women's movement and as YWCA, we are not pleased with this. We are very displeased and dismayed by this judgment, and we are asking and appealing to Justice Mbewe and to the justice system to look back into this matter and address it to its conclusiveness. I believe that the family with this sentence can never find closure. I believe that the children have also been affected greatly. They can never find closure. So it is important that this case or this matter is revisited.
The YWCA president maintains that cases of gender-based violence in the country remain without proper convictions because such judgments erode some of the victims' confidence to report matters of GBV to relevant authorities for justice to prevail. Ms. Mwanga says, going forward, the country needs to improve its management of cases of gender-based violence.
Many cases, like you indicated, are going unconvicted, some of them being withdrawn. It's because many people are not, they are not happy with some of the sentences that are being given to perpetrators, such as this one of 20 years. So how can somebody continue with the case and believe that the justice system is going to give proper justice when you can have a murderer who's going to start walking the streets in 20 years' time?
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Some public service transport drivers in Lusaka have criticized the continued instability in fuel pump prices in the country. One of the drivers, Josiah Mwanza, says the monthly price review is contributing to the soaring of commodity prices on the market. On Thursday, 31st August 2023, the Energy Regulation Board, ERB, announced fuel pump price increments by almost 4 kwacha for both petrol and diesel. More in this report.
Fuel is key in the operation of heavy machinery, facilitating uninterrupted communication network, and drives innovation, transportation of essential goods and services, and in the end fostering economic growth. Despite President Hakainde Hichilema's promise to reduce the price of fuel, the opposite is the case. On 25th September 2019, while in opposition, President Hichilema posted on his Facebook page, and I quote, "The left is the current price calculation, and on the right is my proposal on why I know fuel can be 4 kwacha cheaper if those measures are taken immediately." End of quote. Just in the eve of the UPND 2 years anniversary celebrations, the Energy Regulation Board, ERB, on Thursday, 31st August 2023, announced the fuel pump price increments, with petrol going at 29 kwacha 42 ngwe per litre from 25 kwacha 57 ngwe per litre, while diesel is now fetching at 26 kwacha 88 ngwe per litre from 23 kwacha 36 ngwe per litre. Bus drivers in Lusaka are dismayed with the development.
Wanafagira kwa then stimu mapassenger walipira ndrama zimozi na zimozi.
Fiwo bakalunda bonze pakwera. So apa mandini. Stuzi wapamene bazatuganizira ko chene.
Ngayese kuma drivers tidala ndako chikuru cha fuel yakwela plus standard of living inyo ili high na heavy. Vonse sivili bwino vintu. Plus na fuel adua. So fuel mwana durira hapa. Unga vonse vizakwela vizaenda pamwamba. Maji zangala bwanza umoyo watu zangala bwino.
Andi apa vetikamba ndichimonzi mozi oti patitwika masuku yakwati tisatia bwanji kwakuti vonse mungu ikira
so muyakwerera so apa kulibe vamushi bizakwera vonse.
Meanwhile, Chachacha leader Eric Chanda says the continued instability in fuel pump prices shows how the United Party for National Development UPND government is not ready to liberate Zambians.
The hike in fuel prices is a killer punch that may knock out our economy. It is now clear that the UPND government have no ideas on how to govern our country, Zambia, on how to control the economy in particular and better the lives of the Zambian people. Because when you see fuel prices increasing at this rate, look at the upswing inflation, 10.8%. Just know that the economy is dead. The cost of living will continue going up. This UPND government has killed the economy, and they don't have any solution.
Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Meanwhile, Development Freedom Party leader Brian Mutale has challenged government to rethink the monthly fuel price review. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Mutale tells government that the hike in the fuel prices will push the cost of essential commodities upwards, thereby making it impossible for the majority of poor Zambians to afford a meal. He has since challenged the Zambian government to quickly find a solution to lowering the cost of fuel.
The fuel price, it's too much. How do you expect a minimum to come down when the fuel is going down? It is going up every time. So fuel is very important to every business. To the government to deal with this issue as soon as possible. We are tired to be listening every time the fuel is going up. Every time fuel is going up. Perhaps tukasanga fuel 100 kwacha per liter. So please, the government of the day, I'm appealing to the president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, try to sort out this issue as soon as possible. You are the leader, and we have hope you can sort out this issue.
Some residents of Lusaka's John Howard area in Chawama constituency have called on government to rehabilitate the Lumumba market for it to cater for vendors who have not yet found trading spaces. One of the traders, Alice Banda, who is among those who have abandoned the refurbished market, says in its current state the market lacks capacity to accommodate everyone. Others have alleged that part of the market has been sold to unknown foreign nationals. Here's a report.
The significance of markets in trade and commerce needs no introduction, where buyers and sellers converge for economic exchange, while the government has been keen on utilizing the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, to better the life of constituents and constituencies in the country. Despite being built through the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, this is Lumumba Market in John Howard compound of Lusaka's Chawama constituency, which is a white elephant as people are shunning using the facility on grounds that the space cannot accommodate everyone. One of the traders, Alice Banda, says she is willing to move into the market, but explains that in its current state, the market is not accommodative.
Market ni ngono. Ma naipanga ngono market. Utitingere mkati wantu nsema mbili. So sikwanisika ungena market. So ndi bane vutira utitingere market kufuna tifuna utitingere market. Market ni ngono. boma tifuna tithandizireko kuti timangire market ikulu
and then kamfuti kapuka space futi nikang'ono mastandi aja mkapenda ali paja niopendeka but vantu vakambati uku vantu vazangena mkati wonse kuja ma street muli vantu but ka space nikang'ono so manje futi vakakambati vantu wangene mkati nishini kwamba olimbira na space nishivena ngo asara panja so baje basara panja na bevi baje benango bakangara benango wangena mkati benango ali panja baje bali panja waza complain ati wae vanzatu wasara panja so space nje ng'ono.
However, other residents have accused the local leadership of selling part of the market to foreign nationals for personal gains.
Nanga bamene banagulako building banayigula mu njira ya bwanji chizatika ayiwana balala wezi wametize batera mene anagulisako building ni mwana wao bamudala tiloloi ngati muyendako mu market oloi vile muyende mu chawa muzapeza kuti benango ni manyumba amanje bagonamo nze kuti bantu bazigulisirama isi hivi ni olo muyende pati yesa muzapeza kuti manyumba ya mbili aje mwiwaize kuti yankaleni market ni mabia olo manje ni yamoba na market ya kuti bagulisamo vintu kulibe
the most problem from Zambia the ballots tilibe mwenye kwela lero Zambia within 3 days after tenga license na NRC labor laws shilipati akanaje kumiso of labor atenga chendrama au chitapendram lot of wamwenye watenga marriage within 3 months abache Zambia abua muna as a visitor 3 months after tenga NRC. What type of law do you have in our Zambia?
Meanwhile, Area Councillor Onsirio Piri says the market was constructed in phases and the rehabilitation work cannot continue because people are not utilizing the facility. Mr. Piri also rubbishes allegations that part of the market has been sold to a foreign national.
But what has happened, that market is a white elephant, and we have been pursuing these marketeers to go inside there, the traders, so that they start trading, which has not been the case. I have said I don't think I would do sanction for the second phase of the market, not until people start trading from there. No, that is not true. That is a total lie, a fabrication of story. You know, after his demise and the family, later on, after some years, the family thought of selling out that block of shops, which the council had no hand in it whatsoever.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Zambia has launched the polio vaccination routine in order to vaccinate children under the age of 8 years against the polio pandemic, which has broken out in some parts of the country. Speaking when launching the vaccination exercise, Mongo District Commissioner Morgan Akabeswa has called on parents and guardians to avail their children for vaccination. Mr. Akabeswa says failure to have children vaccinated against polio can infect a child's spinal cord, causing paralysis. More in this report.
Western Province launches its Round 3 campaign for the novel oral polio vaccine type 2 under the theme End Polio Now, Reach Every Child. Speaking during the official launch of polio vaccination, Mongo District Commissioner Morgan Akabeswa has called on parents in the province to take this as an advantage of the door-to-door polio vaccination activity by allowing their children being vaccinated against this disease. And he urged parents and the guardians to ensure that their children under 8 years access the vital polio vaccine.
On behalf of the people of Zambia and indeed the new Dawn government, this campaign's theme is End Polio Now, Reach Every Child. Child before he or she reaches 6 years must have 4 doses. I still want to urge you and encourage you that please avail your children for this noble campaign. We are targeting 0 to 8 years. Children at risk must be vaccinated.
And the District Commissioner Kabeswa further requested the community to put effort to the future of their children.
We all have the responsibility in identifying and reporting sudden onset of paralysis in all children below 15 years in the community. all of us in our respective capacities to put in our very best for the sake of the future of our children and Zambia. The district round 3 polio vaccination campaign officially launched.
Speaking at the same event, public health specialist Dr. Lafday Mwila added his voice.
Here is a statement to the fact that we are committed to our shared goal of eradicating this debilitating disease called polio. So we thank you all for being part of the stakeholders to ensure that we eradicate this disease.
Moseo Kabira reporting for Camnet News in Mongo, Western Province.
The Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, has entered a nolle prosequi in respect of 5 Egyptians and 1 Zambian charged with espionage associated with a gold scam. Lusaka Chief Resident Magistrate Davis Chiweli discharged the 6 following the DPP's instructions, but committed Shadrach Kasanda, Francis Mateo, a state security officer, and 3 others to the High Court for trial proceedings. Meanwhile, the Drug Enforcement Commission, DEC, says 2 among the 5 Egyptians released will be rearrested on lesser charges and bond will be granted to them. More in this report.
Despite the Director of Public Prosecution, DPP, entering a nolle prosequi in respect of 5 Egyptian and 1 Zambian, Friday morning, the 1st of September 2023, their defense counsel almost sensed that the temporal freedom was not something that one should be quick to celebrate. As stated in Article 87 of the Zambian Constitution, in performing this duty, the DPP has the power to enter nolle prosequi. This power allows the DPP to stop a criminal prosecution at any stage in a trial court before a verdict is pronounced.
We can't comment, it's too early to comment now. Yeah, we'll make a comment at the appropriate time.
True to his instinct, after celebrating their release hours later, the Drug Enforcement Commission released a statement indicating that 2 among the 5 Egyptians freed will be rearrested on lesser charges and bond will be granted to them. Earlier, after being discharged by Lusaka Chief Resident Magistrate Davis Chiweli, one of the Egyptians passed this comment.
To mention anything, we are clear, and we are sure from the first day we are clear. Thank you.
Inshallah. This joy was also extended to the Ndaingamo clan after learning that Oswald Ndaingamo, an accountant, was part of those freed by the DPP from a charge of espionage associated with the gold scam.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, my Lord.
It was, however, a different moment for Shadrach Kasanda, a businessman, Patrick Kawanwe, pilot, Dr. Jim Belem, Mahogany Airline CEO, Rapson Monga, a police officer, and Francis Mateo, a state security officer. The DPP has issued instructions committing the 5 to the High Court for their trial proceedings on a charge of espionage. This was the first word uttered by Kasanda minutes before being taken back to a correctional facility.
It's okay. God is in control.
The accused went on to refute claims that he was a scammer as alleged by some section of society.
Hoping for justice, and justice will prevail. If other people have been afflicted in this, then obviously there's something coming up. If not, then there are things that I explained earlier. People have been paid and they're trying to play. And let's see how far this goes. We're hoping for justice. We're all Zambians. And we must stop. And this issue of a scam, there was no scam. There was no gold scam. People must correct their statements that they're saying on social media. I am not a scammer, I'm a businessman.
Was the business genuine?
I said there was no gold scam.
Was the business due diligence?
I was not in any transaction with anyone.
Allegations before court are that the 5 on the 13th of August 2023 entered a protective place, which is the Kenneth Kaunda Airport, for a purpose that was prejudiced to the safety and interest of the Republic of Zambia. Earlier, Lusaka Chief Resident Magistrate Davis Chiweli found the officer That took Kasanda on the 30th of August 2023, when he was supposed to appear before him guilty of contempt of court. He described the officers overzealous and issued a warning. Meanwhile, State Security Officer Francis Mateo, Kasanda and 3 others will have to wait for the next criminal session at the High Court. For now, they remain in custody. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Opposition Patriotic Front Information and Publicity Chairperson Raphael Nakachinda has asked the Lusaka Magistrate Court Friday to disband the testimony given by Justice Minister Mulambo Haimbe. The accused, through his counsel Jonas Zimba, told court that he was no longer presenting the minister as his witness. The accused, who is facing a charge of defaming President Hakainde Hichilema, informed Magistrate Irene Wishimanga that he was withdrawing the minister as part of his defense. This was after State Counsel Haimbe informed the court during his testimony that he could not remember the exact words he uttered during a radio program he featured with the accused. In this case, Mr. Nakachinda is alleged to have, on 13th of December 2021, accused the head of state of summoning judges at his residence in order to compel them to frustrate PF legal battles.
I was brought by way of a summons to a witness, which is a form of subpoena, to testify on behalf of the defendant. Of course, that means that I was compelled to come, rather than coming on my own in terms of being a voluntary witness. Of course, that is normal procedure before court. From the examination that took place, it would appear the defense wanted me to speak about a radio interview which took place in July at some on 5FM radio, and of course that is an event which was after the alleged offense took place. So the defense subsequently decided that they will withdraw me as a witness, and whatever we discussed in court was removed from the record. So that summarizes my participation in this case. I'm available should the court require me at a future date.
This is Camnet Television Main News. Join us for more news after this short break.
In our quest to save nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books and I'm about to complete the series. It's nice, too, me.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
Hello, Camnet TV viewers. I am your pastor, Pastor Chiluba. This week, on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, my wife, Pastor Victoria, and I will be joining Dr. Francis Miles and Pastor Nwaka of the Living Waters, and Pastor Jeff. The conference will be at the Living Waters Church in Uzakile, next to the BP filling station and also Uzakile Police Station. You must come for this Courts of Heaven conference. My wife and I will be delighted to see you. May God bless you, and may the Lord keep Zambia. Bye-bye.
Water is life. Each drop counts, and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
We continue with the news. Socialist Party leader Fred Membe has charged that police are increasingly being used to punish suspects, especially political opponents. Speaking when he visited Patriots for Economic Progress leader Sean Tembo, who is in detention at Balmoral Police Station in Chilanga Friday, Dr. Membe has wondered why the police lied to the lawyers representing Mr. Tembo that he was being taken to Kabata Police Station, but instead not. Dr. Membe says the move to silence opposition using the police will not yield intended results, but instead cause problems in the country grappling with economic issues.
The police is increasing in being used to punish. It's not the job of the police to punish. Punishment should only be done by the courts of law when someone has been convicted. Where is the presumption of innocence until proven guilt? We have warned that the attempt to use the police to fix political opponents, it will not work. It will not solve any problem. It will actually create more problems. It will compound whatever little problems we have. And they make, so the police actually have become a punishing unit. To take Mr. Sean Tembo all the way from service headquarters to here, to a cell where there's nobody other than himself, a cell that is not occupied by anybody. What is the purpose?
Governance actors have questioned the delayed appointment of a chief electoral officer at the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ. Operation Young Vote Executive Director Ges Nyirenda says the failure by ECZ commissioners to appoint a new CEO is creating a lot of anxiety among Zambians, adding that this has the potential to erode confidence in the ECZ at regional and international levels. And governance activist Brebna Changala notes that the country's electoral body cannot be without a substantive chief electoral officer for over a year. More in this report.
The role of the Electoral Commission of Zambia is, as we all know, to be a model electoral management body that meets the aspirations of the Zambian people. One of the critical positions at this institution is that of the Chief Electoral Officer, who provides oversight, leadership and management of the Secretariat of the Electoral Commission of Zambia and ensure that the Commission operates in accordance with its constitutional mandate. However, after the change of government in 2021, the election house was as well shaken by new appointments and dismissals. Up to date, one of its critical positions, the CEO at the Electoral Commission of Zambia, remains unoccupied a year after Patrick Nshindano left the institution following a mutual agreement with the Commission in August 2022. Governance actors feel the delayed appointment of a new Chief Electoral Officer has the potential to erode public confidence in the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
Very soon, they must also begin to see to it how they can best implement the elections that are coming in 2026. So it's quite worrying. We don't know whether now it's the commission that wants to do everything running, or the day-to-day of management, and that also will create a problem for them as a commission. We expect them to do better. Why the inertia? Why the dilly-dallying? Why the delay? We do not understand at all.
Meanwhile, governance activist Brenna Changala wonders why the United Party for National Development UPND government is painting a picture that there are no competent people in the country who can hold critical positions which remain unoccupied, such as Luapula Provincial Minister and the Chief Electoral Officer at the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ.
There is a new trend by the new Dawn administration to give us an impression that we are lacking capacity in the human resource. The Electoral Commission of Zambia is a critical component in our constitutional democracy. And the absence of a CEO close to 1.5 years is a deliberate gesture or indeed move by the current administration and the president, to be specific. He has not communicated to the electorate as to why that institution must remain without the chief executive. And if there is no chief executive, you cannot allow people to act for that long. So it's imperative that we have a new CEO. Since Shindano was prematurely removed, vacancies in government, especially critical institutions, must be filled and filled immediately. We are also experiencing a problem in Luapula, where a minister was arrested and subsequently removed. The permanent secretary is not available, and the president doesn't see anything wrong with that. We are not governing ourselves properly. It's important that critical institutions are properly manned.
With only 3 years before the general elections, the next CEO at ECZ has that much time to gain experience and deliver credible, free and fair elections in 2026. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka. The Zambia Congress of Trade Unions, ZCTU, has called on unions in the country to come up with strategies and projects that will help sustain the livelihood of organizations other than depending on membership subscriptions. Speaking on behalf of ZCTU Secretary General Joy Bene during the third biennial conference of the Agricultural, Technical and Professional Staff Union of Zambia at SPSAS, Deputy Secretary General Dr. Evans Chungu said dependency on membership subscriptions by unions will make them not to grow. Dr. Chungu called on the leadership of SPSAS to be innovative and focused by diversifying into various agricultural activities so as to sustain the livelihood of the union. More in the following details.
Zambia Congress Trade Unions, ZCTU, has called on unions in the country to come up with strategies and projects that will help sustain the livelihood of organizations other than depending on membership subscription. Speaking on behalf of ZCTU Secretary General Joy Bene during the third biannual conference of the Agriculture, Technical and Professional Staff Union of Zambia at SPSAS, Deputy Secretary General Dr. Evans Chungu said dependency on membership subscription by unions will make them not to grow.
This biennial is held under the theme Sustainable Transformation for the benefit of all the members. Now I want to maybe ask you that dependence on a union subscription might not make unions in the country grow. There must be strategies and projects that should help sustain the livelihood of organizations like yours. I'm very, very disappointed with you that the union like agriculture, where the economy, it's a driver of the economy of Zambia, but you have allowed people who are not professionals, who are not of your profession, to make money from your profession, and you are watching. I'm very disappointed. Maybe from this biannual conference, you must start thinking outside the box.
At SPSAS President Oniva Chingobe said the biannual conference provided an opportunity for members to monitor the performance of the union leadership.
Today we are here in Kabwe holding a biannual conference, which is the one actually which governs
the proceedings of the union. We respect the constitution, we respect the delegates, we respect the members in our union. That's why we have brought them together from different parts of the country, so that together we can now see where have we gone wrong, what have we done better, and where can we improve. These are areas where I find ideas come up and we can advise the government in a better way.
And the delegate from Northern Province had this to say.
When you look at our union, we have a bit of challenges in terms of raising funds. I personally am expecting to say, as the National Executive Committee, at the end of this conference, it will maybe try to take note and make work plans on how we are going now to work going forward as a union. What kind of a plan are we going to have in order to create income, so that as members we'll be able even maybe to be given soft loans, we'll be even able to give our members loans in agriculture, so that they can be able to start producing and be able to sell our produce, which are really needed on the market.
Reporting for NICE, I'm Moses Nyati.
Authorities in Zimba district have disclosed that the district has received 23,700 by 50 kilogram bags of base or dressing fertilizer, representing 100% of the allocation to the district. Zimba District Commissioner Robson Mulamfu confirmed the development to the National Agricultural Information Services in Zimba. Mr. Mulamfu says the Ministry of Agriculture in the district has put all formalities in place and is well prepared to start the distribution program, as 7,900 beneficiaries have already been selected. And Zimba District Agricultural Coordinator Alfred Sianjase says physical verification of beneficiaries and District Agricultural Committee sensitization meetings have been carried out in the district. More in this report.
Authorities in Zimba district have disclosed that the district has received 23,700 by 50 kilogram bags of base or dressing fertilizer, representing 100% of the allocation to the district. Zimba District Commissioner Robson Mulamfu confirmed the development to the National Agriculture Information Services in Zimba. Mr. Mulamfu says the Ministry of Agriculture in the district has put all formalities in place and is well prepared to commence the distribution program, as 7,900 beneficiaries have already been selected.
The total number of bags received in terms of D compound is 23,700. In terms of fertilizers distribution, we have received 100% D compound.
And Zimba District Agriculture Coordinator Alfred Sianjase said the District Agriculture Committee has already shared the number of input packs for the 2023-2024 season to all the 19 beneficiary agricultural camps in the district.
First step was for us to hold the DAC meeting where we shared the packs to all the 19 camps. And during this meeting, we deliberately involved a number of stakeholders.
Meanwhile, Zimba Senior Agricultural Officer Bethel Mwemba says verification of individual beneficiary farmers has been completed to ensure that ghost farmers are weeded out of the beneficiary lists from various camps.
Going to all the camps and verifying the individual farmers who are on the beneficiary list to ensure that we get rid of all ghost farmers that might be on the list.
Reporting, Lawrence Kabutu in Zimba, Southern Province.
We'll take a break. We have more news in international and sports news after the break.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RainGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
The government of the kingdom is the most powerful government in all of the universe. God appointed days and assignments for you to do long before your mother and father came together. So God spoke to me, Francis, the court of heaven is a very powerful place. It's a dimension in the spirit realm that my people can step into by faith and win battles against the devil.
There's at least 76 times where the Bible talks about that God is the judge of all the earth. So therefore, we're talking about the courts of heaven that is in the spiritual realm, not in the natural realm.
What God is about to do at Grace and in South Africa, I caught it. Therefore, what did I do? I believed. After I believed, I have announced. After I have announced, you and I are going to do what? Pray it into being in the natural.
The purpose of you knowing how to get into the courts of heaven and win the cases is not just for the sake of winning. It's for you to go to another level. To go to another level.
We have made prayer more complicated and difficult than what it is because we have not realized that this is a key element of our prayer life, that we pray that which were purposed so that grace can accompany and we can succeed and we can live a fulfilled life. And the heavens are pleased because that's what they fashioned us for.
In foreign news tonight, following a spate of coups in African countries, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Friday warned that military takeovers only make things worse. Mr. Guterres says many countries face deep-seated governance challenges, but military governments are not the solution. Guterres said international bodies like the African Union should be strengthened in their efforts to foster peace, stability and democracy on the continent. He further said that at the same time, conditions need to be created that allow African citizens to address the root causes of political instability, lack of development being a major factor. Here's a roundup of international news for more.
Following a spate of coups in Africa, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has warned they only make things worse. He said bodies like the African Union should be strengthened in their efforts to foster peace, stability and democracy on the continent.
Many countries face deep-seated governance challenges, but military governments are not the solution. They aggravate problems, they cannot resolve a crisis, they can only make it worse. I urge all countries to move quickly to establish credible democratic institutions and the rule of law.
His comments come after a coup d'etat in Gabon on Wednesday, the 8th in Africa since 2020. The previous one saw the military take power in Niger in July.
The United Nations has demanded an independent probe after dozens of people were killed Wednesday in a crackdown by soldiers on an anti-UN protest in the eastern DRC. UN Rights Office spokeswoman told reporters perpetrators need to be brought to justice.
We are extremely alarmed that at least 43 people were killed, including a policeman, and 56 injured during demonstrations on Wednesday in Goma in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. We have received information indicating that the death
toll, including a slain policeman, has risen to 48, according to an internal army document consulted by reporters and verified by security officials.
It work and what is blocking?
The demonstrations were organized against the United Nations Stabilization Mission in the DR Congo, MONUSCO, and regional force of the East African Community, other UN agencies and international non-governmental organizations.
The UN peacekeeping mission in the DRC is one of the largest and costliest in the world, with an annual budget of about $1 billion. But the force known as MONUSCO is often criticized locally.
Our capacity to assist them will, of course, depend a great deal on the resources that we can garnish to reach populations who are obviously vulnerable and in great need. And at this time, we are somewhat limited in our capacity to do so.
Last year, dozens were killed in anti-UN protest, including 4 peacekeepers. The latest violence coincides with a debate over when the MONUSCO force should leave the DRC.
In our sports news tonight, the Zambia boxing team head coach Wisdom Mudenda says his team is in high spirits ahead of the Dakar Olympic qualifiers for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, which will take place from the 9th to the 15th of September in Dakar, Senegal. Speaking from OIDC, Zambia, where the team is currently camped, Mudenda says the preparations are going well and that he is optimistic that the team will perform greatly following the hard work they have put in so far. The team, which has been in a residential camp for the last 3 days, consists of 4 males and 4 females. In the flyweight category is African champion Margaret Tembo. Mary Mwango is placed in the featherweight category, while Hilda Ngandwe is in bantamweight and Felicitas Nkandu is in the lightweight category. Patrick Chinyemba, the current African champion, is in the flyweight category. Mwango Mwale, a new entrant, is placed in the bantamweight category, while the current lightweight African champion Andrew Chilata and Steven Zimba are in the waterweight category. Meanwhile, Margaret Tembo, the current lightweight flyweight African champion, is confident in the preparations and guidance provided by the coaching team. That boxing note brings us to the end of our news tonight. Before we go, the headlines once again. 15-year-old girl of Lusaka defiled and tortured. A women's organization criticizes the light sentence slapped on wife killer. State discontinues case against 5 Egyptians involved in the alleged gold scam. In international news, UN Secretary General says coups are not the solution. And in sports news, Zambia's boxing team intensifies preparations ahead of the Dakar Olympic qualifiers. The Camnet verse of the day is coming from Ephesians 5 verse 1. Follow God's example, therefore, as dearly loved children, and walk in the way of love, just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us as a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God. Thank you for watching Camnet Television News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.